to zigzag through all these other sick people and get to where this one guy is. Now, if he's been there 38 years, he's been there that long, he's probably closer to the waters than some of the other people, right? I mean, after 38 years, you kind of move yourself. Oh, he's healed, I get to take his place. You kind of move up and hopefully, just keep your toe in the water just in case. I don't know. But he's probably a little bit closer up. So Jesus is walking all the way through, coming to one person who's been looking for a miracle for 38 years. Been waiting and waiting and waiting. Not waiting and doing nothing, waiting and trying, but just not happened. It just hadn't been his time. And Jesus sees him. He knows that he's been there. And he asks him this question: do you want to be made well? Now, I'm sure the guy could have said, duh, but he didn't. He didn't. I mean, if you've been sick 38 years and someone comes up to you and says, hey, do you want to get better? I mean, wouldn't you just look at him cross-eyed for a minute? What do you think? I mean, what a silly question to ask someone who's there, and you know the whole reason it's there, they're hoping that a miracle might take place. Now, he sees him laying there. He knows how long he's been waiting, but he just starts a conversation. He walks up to him. The guy's laying down on the floor, and Jesus is there and says, hey, you, down there. You want to be made well? Yeah. I mean, what are you going to say? He carries on his dialogue, and this is where I see a little bit of optimism, and I can imagine what he's thinking. Why would even someone ask me such a thing? First of all, they know why we're here. No one's here who doesn't want to be made well. Everyone here wants to be. Everyone here is sick and needs a miracle. That's why they're here. It's like going to a hospital, and everyone in there is there for a reason, because they need to be made better. Well, he responds with such a thing. He just says, let me tell you about my story. Now, you've probably done this. You go up to someone, and then you realize after you ask them, hey, how you doing? Oh, my goodness, that's not the question to ask this person. Because some people have a lot of problems. And if you go and say, hey, how you doing? Well, oh, my goodness. And, I ain't got that much time. Some people are like that. But look what he says. The sick man answers, says, sir, I have no man to put me in a pool when the water is stirred up, but while I'm coming, another steps down before me. That's just depressing. Do you want to be made well? Do you want to get better? Do you want to be healed? And he just says, he looks up and says, sir, you don't understand. Other people have people to help them. I don't have anyone. I'm here by myself. I've been here 38 years. This is the only thing I know. I don't have anyone to help me. Matter of fact, I'm by the water. When the water's stirred, I get all excited. Every time the water's stirred, I think I'm going to be it, and I think I'm being number one. I'm always number two. Someone cannonballs right in front of me. Every time. Could you imagine thinking you're going to be the first one in, and someone runs by, Kaya Banga, and jumps in on front? But he says, every time I think I'm going to get my miracle, someone else gets what I need. Now, how would you stay optimistic during all that time? That people came yesterday, got healed, and you're like, what? Well, he wasn't really that sick anyway, but 38 years of waiting and people cutting in front of you all the time, that would get old real quick. I don't know about you, I would probably have lost my patience a couple times. He just says, listen, I've tried over and over. You don't understand, mister. Yes, I want to get well. I keep on trying to be number one, but I end up number two all the time. I just keep coming short. I don't get there. I'm outnumbered. Other people just have people to help them, and I just can't get a break. I'm waiting for my miracle, and it doesn't seem to come. Now, he doesn't sound bitter. He doesn't sound angry. He's just stating facts. I've tried over and over, and this is my only hope, and it's just not working out for me. It's just not working out. Now, you've probably been there. You're waiting on something. You think, okay, this is going to do it. This is going to do it. And just when you think it's going to happen for you, it doesn't. Maybe you're starting a business, or maybe you're trying to do something else, and you're trying to get things going, and it's just not working out. Other people seem to do the same thing, and they do better than you, and you're like, I don't get it. How can they know less of me and they're doing better? How does that even happen? It just seems like it doesn't matter what you do. Other people are having success around you, and you're not having success that you want. And you say, Lord, what gives? I'm doing everything you want me to do. I'm doing what I can. How come it's not working for me? And he's got to at least ask those questions. What do I have to do? Well, Jesus asked the right question. Do you want to get well? He says, Mister, I've tried, but it's just not working out for me. I'm here because I believe it can happen, but believe me, I want to get better. It's just never been my opportunity. In 8 and 9, you have to like it. Jesus looks at him and gives him a 3-step command. Ready? First of all, he looks at him and says, rise, take up your bed, usually a mat they would roll out, take up your mat or your bed and walk. Now, he didn't tell him to go home. He said, get up, get your bed, and go. Now, as a guy hears those words, it's probably not even registering. I mean, he's got to be thinking, "What? Excuse me?" And as he hears that, as he hears the words that Jesus is saying, he can feel his body healing from the inside out. Now, we don't even know what his infirmity is. We don't know what his problem is. We just know he's had it for 38 years. Now, it could be something with his legs and being lame because he's trying to get there, but other people are quicker than him. So maybe he's deformed, maybe he's disfigured, maybe he's 38 years old, he's had this his whole life. We don't know. What we do know is that he feels different as soon as he hears Jesus say, rise, take up your bed, and walk. And next thing you know, he can do what Jesus said. Now, beforehand he couldn't have. Now, there's only one problem with all of this. It says immediately the man was made well. He felt, as Jesus said it, he felt better. He stands up, felt better than he had in at least 38 years. He rolls up his little mat, he rolls up his bed, and he starts walking. The problem is that's a Sabbath day. The Sabbath day is a Saturday, which is worship for the Jews, where they'd worship God. And they had rules that you could and couldn't do on a Sabbath. Matter of fact, some of Jesus' disciples got in trouble for this before. They were walking through a field, and they picked some grain, a head of grain, and they did this and got the chaff off. They blew off the thing and ate the kernels. And the Jews were saying, what are you doing? You can't winnow wheat on the Sabbath. What are you doing? It's like, well, I don't want to eat the chaff. You're not supposed to do that. You can't do that. That's working. You can't do that. You can't winnow on the Sabbath. And Jesus says, well, they're hungry. What do you want them to do? See, they had this big thing where you can't do anything on Sabbath, and it's part of the law, and Jesus is saying, wait a minute, you don't understand. See, Sabbath was made for the man, not man for the Sabbath. You got it backwards. There's even provisions in the law. See, in the law, on the Sabbath, if your animal falls in a ditch, say your prize donkey, or you got an ox or an animal that fell in a ditch or a well, there was provisions in the law that you could get them out. You could work. If someone else could get better, if it helped them live, you could do the work. If it were to help them live and improve life, you could do it. Well, can I tell you that every single miracle Jesus did help improve their life and help them live? Every time he healed someone, it helped them better themselves on Sabbath. It helped the quality of life they had. Everything he did didn't break the Sabbath. It confirmed the Sabbath. You can work if it's a matter of life or death. You can work if it's going to make someone or something else better. You could do it, because there were exceptions, and every healing he did on the Sabbath was an exception. So he's told to rise, take up his bed. He gets up, rolls it up, and he could have just left it there, he didn't. And he starts walking, and suddenly he thinks, well, does he even remember where he lives from 38 years ago? Does he even have a house to go to? He just gets up and he starts walking. And he's glad to not be where he is. He's glad to be made whole. He gets to start his life over again. He's feeling fantastic. He's feeling great. Life has never been better. And someone else sees him. Then he's like, oh boy. Now, let me ask you a question before we look at the next verse. How many of you have been so sick you forgot what day of the week it is? How many have been in bed so many days sick that you didn't know you woke up and couldn't remember what day it was when you woke up? I've been there. I've been there when I've been sick. I remember having Legionnaire's disease. I was there for several days. I was there from Saturday to Thursday. I didn't even know what day it was. I just knew that I wasn't getting better, and I thought I was going to die, and I could have. I've been there where you don't even know what day of the week it is. You've been so sick, you don't care what day of the week it is. You're just trying to make it through the next day. You don't care what day it is. And sometimes you wake up and you don't know if it's morning or evening. You have no idea. You're so disoriented. I've been there. So this guy, he's healed. He's not even thinking about things like that. What he's thinking about is just starting his life over. And then he's walking, carrying his bed, feeling better than ever had. And you have verse 10 happen. The Jews therefore said to him, who was cured, "It's the Sabbath. It's not lawful for you to carry your bed. What are you doing?" He's walking around his own business, happy, healthy, restored, and he is just celebrating life. And then he remembers something. He's got his bed tucked underneath his arm. He's walking down the street, and one of the Jews says, "What do you think you're doing?" I'm walking, which I haven't been able to do for a long time. "You're carrying your bed." "Oh, look at there, I sure am." "I'm so used to laying on it, for I was carrying it." He said, "You know it's a Sabbath, don't you?" "No. I've been somewhere 38 years. I forgot what day. I don't even think about stuff like that anymore." But he's singled out. I mean, he's the only one carrying something through the streets. It should have dawned on him. He's just walking through, carrying his stuff. And it's painfully obvious that he's doing something he's not supposed to do. And the Jews call him out for it and said, wait. What do you think you're doing? It's the Sabbath and you're carrying your bed. You're not supposed to do that. And then his only answer is, "The one who made me well told me to." And that's what he says in verse 11. See, the one who made me well said to me, "Take up your bed and walk." And I'm doing it. I'm just doing what I'm told. How many ever said that? I'm just doing what I'm told. I said, whose fault is it? I don't know whose fault it is. Because Jesus is gone. Jesus is gone. He didn't even know who it was. But he just makes a statement. The one who made me well told me, "Take up your bed, walk." And listen, he made me better. I'm going to do what he said. And he took up his bed and he's just walking. Now, it was so crowded there. Look what happens. It's amazing. Now, I promise you, the people who asked him a question knew who healed him. Who's the only person doing miracles in all of Israel right now? Come on, say it out loud. Is there anyone else doing miracles in Israel right now? So if someone did a miracle, who do you think did it? Do you think they knew who did the miracle before they asked? Yeah, it was a no-brainer. It was a no-brainer. So they asked him, "Who is the man who said to you, 'Take up your bed and walk'?" He goes, "You know what? I'm so rude. I didn't even ask him his name. I don't even know. You know what? I don't even think he knows my name." He said, "You sick man?" I said, "Yes, I'm sick." He said, "Be well." Okay. And I was happy. He doesn't know my name. I don't know his, and life is good. I don't know who made me well. I don't have the foggiest idea. And he didn't know. He had no idea. He says, I don't know who it was. And verse 13, the one who healed didn't know who it was. Jesus had withdrawn, and the multitude being so great that he got lost in a crowd. So imagine this. The man's laying there. Jesus walks up to him. They've got a group of guys with him. Says, "Do you want to be made well?" "Listen, I've tried that before. It's not working for right now. I hope it does, but one day." "Well, rise, take up your bed and walk." "Excuse me?" "Get up, get your bed, and walk." He stands up. He goes to roll up his mat. By the time he turns around, Jesus is gone. Like, where'd he go? Well, who cares? And he's just glad he's healed. He's just glad he's healed. But he didn't know who it was. Now afterward, it says Jesus found him in the temple and said to him, "See, you've been made well. Sin no more, lest a worse thing come upon you." Now what could be worse than being sick at 38 years? So I don't know, but I don't want to find out, and I ain't going to mess up. That's all I know. Afterwards, Jesus found him, but listen, look where he found him. Where did he find him at? In the temple. Why is he in the temple? He's worshiping God. Do you know where he hasn't been for the last 38 years? In God's house. He was an invalid. Matter of fact, if you were sick or lame, blind, you couldn't go in the temple. He had been prevented from worshiping God inside the temple for 38 years. His first opportunity he gets, guess where he goes? He goes back to God's house. He wants to thank God. He doesn't know what happened. He doesn't know who did it. He just knows it had to be a God thing. I'm going to God's house. So afterward, Jesus finds him in the temple, and he's there worshiping. I promise